This next one is from Sarah in Swanee, and oh, poor Sarah is having a problem with her neighbor not keeping the house up, and she's not sure how to get the HOA to properly address the situation. Number one, my advice for you would be to be respectful and polite to your homeowners association. In many cases, there is a love-hate relationship between members of a homeowners association or people who are governed by the homeowners association and the homeowners association, and I will tell you, keep your cool. Be respectful. They're homeowners just like you. But here's what I would do. Subdivisions who have HOAs typically have what are called covenants, conditions, and restrictions. You'll hear people call them CCRs or CCNRs, covenants, conditions, and restrictions. And those covenants, conditions, and restrictions, believe it or not, say that any home in this subdivision where ownership passes to a new owner is subject to these rules. So if they pass to the original owner, they were subject to the rules. When they pass to the next owner and the next owner and the next owner, they're still subject to these rules. I would venture to guess that no more than 1 in 20 homeowners actually reads the covenants, conditions, and restrictions for the neighborhood. They will read everything about the listing. They will know everything about that listing cosmetically, but they will not know the rules they are agreeing to live by until they have a problem and the homeowners association points out the document. So write this document down, covenants, conditions, and restrictions. You need to, if you have a problem with how your neighbor is keeping their home, my suggestion would be to get a copy of the covenants, conditions, and restrictions and to review it yourself, and then for you to identify where your neighbor is not following those covenants, conditions, and restrictions. In some cases, you have a supplemental document to your covenants, conditions, and restrictions that is architectural guidelines, and that also would tell you what kind of condition the property needed to be kept in. So if you have a problem with the way your neighbor is keeping his or her home, it could be that it is a problem for the HOA, or it could be that it is not. I have neighbors on 1, 2, 3 sides of me, and there are sometimes things that we have to address as neighbors, something that they're doing that I don't particularly care for, and vice versa, something that I'm doing that they don't particularly care for. And the best thing to do is just to have open communication, because you can solve a lot by just talking to the neighbor. Sarah in Swanee, that's the one who asked the question about having an issue with her neighbor. I would suggest that you talk to your neighbor directly first, but if not, if that doesn't work, get a copy of the covenants, conditions, and restrictions, read them, determine exactly what your neighbor is not following, and then advise the HOA. They need to enforce that section of the covenants, conditions, and restrictions.